Just let me know if it sounds good. Testing, testing.
Yeah, we good.
Okay, great. All right. What is good, YouTube? This your boy Aaron.
It's Brian.
This is the Courtside podcast, and we are back today, and we got a lot to discuss. It's the final week before we finally get back to the regular season of the NFL, and I can't wait. This is a glorious time of the year. I love football. It's been a long off season, and now we're here. Now we're giving our final predictions for what we think is going to happen in the regular season, and then ultimately, who do we think is going to represent for the Super Bowl? So, without further ado, I think we should start there, and then we'll get to the other news regarding Michael Parsons, Shedeur Sanders. Don't worry, we're going to talk about Shedeur Sanders as well, because there's a lot of people in the comments that be saying certain things about Shedeur, and they want to see if we're going to keep that same energy. Don't worry, we're not going to ignore what transpired a few days ago. Just don't worry about that. But without further ado, I want to get to just looking at who do we think is going to make the playoffs in 2025.
Okay.
Every single year things change. There's always like one or two teams that make the playoffs that didn't make it the previous season. So I want to look at it from this. I don't think it's going to be a whole lot of change. Maybe one team, maybe two teams, maybe one team per conference, but I don't think it's going to be a whole lot of shuffling going on. I do believe for the most part that almost every team that made the playoffs in the NFC last year are going to make the playoffs this year, with the exception of maybe the
Vikings.
Packers. Well, I don't know. So let's look at this. Let me bring up the playoff standings from last year. Playoffs, NFL.
Obviously, the Eagles was the first seed.
Yeah.
Detroit was the second seed.
Yep.
Minnesota. No, it goes by division. So,
I think Detroit had the best record in the NFC that year. I think the Eagles had the second seed. It's just Detroit lost to the Commanders.
Oh yeah.
So, but
yeah, they
here,
did have home field.
This was the bracket last year. Detroit had home field advantage, and the Rams, they won their division last year. I believe it was only one NFC West team, and it was the Rams. And then you had the Buccaneers, who won their division. You had the Eagles, obviously, and then you had the wild card teams with the Commanders, Vikings, Packers. So, out of all the teams on here that you see from the NFC side, who do you think is not going to make the playoffs in 2025?
Not going to make it. I'm going to say the Vikings, because JJ McCarthy is a rookie.
Okay.
We haven't really seen much. Did he even play a single snap in preseason?
He did, but it wasn't a whole lot.
He did.
Okay. Yeah, he did.
We haven't really seen much from him. And this is they're in a very tough division now.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're gonna have to go against obviously you guys in Detroit twice a year, and then the Bears aren't going to be any pushovers either. I'm not sure if JJ McCarthy's ready just yet. I think he's about a year away to really start leading this team to play. But then again, he could be an excellent rookie coming in. Well, not a rookie, but technically his rookie year, because this is first year starting. He could be that guy to get them to the playoffs. I just don't see the Vikings making it this year, and if they do, they probably be early round exits, because they got some issues on that team. I mean, it's a very talented team, and they're well coached, but QB matters at the end of the day, and you can argue that they have the worst QB out of the division. So I'm going to leave out the Vikings. Everybody else, I think they should make it. If I had to pick a team that would sneak in their to replace the Vikings, I think I'm gonna go Dallas.
You what? What? The
I think I'm going
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
The Cowboys making the
On
playoffs?
one stipulation, Micah has to be signed. If they don't get a deal done with Micah, the Cowboys not making the playoffs. Other than that, I mean, I guess maybe between if not the Cowboys, my second bet guess, watch it be something silly like San Francisco or something. I can absolutely see the 49ers weaseling their way into the playoffs this year because that schedule is cake.
It is, but they lost a lot of talent.
They
I
did,
don't
but
know.
49ers, they just even when they was bad last year, they were still competitive, and it was very annoying because they was in it with Detroit, week 17, I believe that was. So you never know. I don't like counting out the 49ers at this point. They just like they're a roach. They just don't go away.
Oh man.
'Cause I'm not a big believer in Atlanta either, honestly.
Oh, so I'll say this. I think so with Minnesota. I think they're very talented. They are very talented. I think their secondary is a bit skeptical. I like Byron Murphy. Isaiah Rogers is okay, but the secondary is a bit skeptical. They do have some really good edge rushers, so they'll be fine with that. And then you have Dallas Turner as he's not even starting. Your first round pick isn't even starting because you have two
Don't
Pro
say Dallas
Bowlers.
Turner, the dude from the comments gonna show up. Y'all leave some very funny comments on
Hey, I
our
mean
videos.
they made a good
I
point
mean,
because
true. I mean, it's true,
Green
but they be
Yard's
writing
pretty good.
dissertations. I'm like, y'all just academically inclined about sports. Y'all need to apply to some writing jobs or something.
Bro, they be writing whole papers. I'm like, damn, whole papers. Anywho,
It's
but yeah, two Pro Bowl caliber edge rushers are in front of Dallas Turner, which is that just lets you know how good they are, how much depth they
who are the
have
two?
at that position. It was Green Yard Grenard, I forget his name.
Grenard, I
Yeah,
think is how you say it.
Grenard and
Jonathan Grenard is that his
is it
name?
Van Ginkel? Is it Van
Oh, Van
Ginkel
Gogh, he was hooping. He was hooping last year. I thought he was more of a
or was it
off ball
Pace?
guy.
Or was it? I think
No,
it was
Pace
either.
plays off ball. I
Okay,
believe Pace is the wheel.
I think it's Van Ginkel, Andrew Van Ginkel,
Okay,
and
Andrew Van Ginkel. Yeah, he did have a good year.
Grenard
He had a good
are
year.
the two edge rushers in front of Dallas
Hmm.
Turner. So they have a lot of depth. The linebacking position is pretty good. The secondary is pretty mediocre outside of maybe Murphy and Rogers. Smith is okay, but he's up there in age, so we don't know how much longer he'll be able to play at a high level. Um, but yeah, I like their defense. They were really good last year. They have a really good scheme. I just think they're too talented. They did just trade Thielen, who he's up there in age, but no, yeah, they traded for Thielen. Excuse me,
Yeah, he traded for Thielen.
but he'll play in the slot, which is perfect for him. I think they're just too talented
They
not to
probably
make the
liked
playoffs.
how good he was for Bryce Young, how reliable how much Bryce Young relied on Thielen, and was like,
Mhm.
okay, we got a young QB too. We might as well bring him on board.
And he knows the system. He played in the
Yeah,
system before with Kirk Cousins. He's played with the coach before, so this is a perfect fit for him. I think they're just too good to not make the playoffs. I think JJ McCarthy. I know this is going to be his first year starting, but it just seems like the situation is too perfect for him to not look bad. I would be shocked if he looks bad in this situation. I think he'll be good enough to at least get this team to a winning record and get this team to the postseason. I don't think they're going to win the division. I have the Lions win the division, but I don't think JJ McCarthy has to look as good as Sam Darnold to get this team to the playoffs because when Sam Darnold was at the helm, I think they won maybe 13 or 14 games. I don't think it's going to take them 13 or 14 games to make
well,
the postseason. Probably 11.
well, my thing is it's not necessarily the win total. It's about how will they perform in division play.
Okay.
Because if they drop 2 against Green Bay and Detroit, it's going to be a hard sell to get them in the playoffs.
I don't think they dropped 2 against the Packers. I think they split with the Packers. I think they could sweep the Bears. I don't think they get a game off on Detroit though. I think Detroit has Minnesota's number. That's how I look at it. I think so. Yeah, that's just the way I look at it when it comes to those teams. I think it boils down to with Minnesota. I don't think they will get a game off on Detroit, but I do think they'll split with the Packers, and I do think for the most part that they'll probably sweep the Bears. If not, at most, probably split with the Bears. That's just how I look at it. So Minnesota, I just don't see them not making the postseason. It would have to be just catastrophic for them, like injuries galore, injury bug would just be plaguing that team, or JJ McCarthy just he looks like a deer in headlights when he's under helm as quarterback. But I just don't see with all that talent, with the play caller that Kevin O'Connell is, I just don't see JJ McCarthy folding under pressure like Trey Lance did with the 49ers. I think JJ McCarthy is better than Trey Lance coming out. I think JJ McCarthy fits a whole lot better in that Kevin O'Connell scheme compared to Trey Lance and how he fit with Kyle Shanahan's scheme. So I just don't see it happening. The team that who maybe the odds are the Commanders are the team with the best odds to not make the playoffs, in my opinion, just for the simple fact that the talent compared to the other teams isn't nearly in the same level. So I would say maybe the Commanders. I understand they did bring in Debo. They re-signed Terry McLaurin. The offensive line, they did draft somebody, I believe, in the first round in the previous
Connolly.
draft. So
But it don't
I
look like he's going to start.
yeah. I don't know. Marshawn Lattimore, does he still have enough left in the tank? They did improve the secondary a little bit. I mean, it's not really hard when you have one of the worst secondaries in the previous season. If there is a team that's not going to make the playoffs, I think more time than not, it's probably going to be the Commanders, because what they did last year with the schedule that they have, and it was a lot of luck involved. They got very fortunate with the schedule that they have, with some of the teams that they faced. I just think that the Commanders this year, are they going to be able to replicate that? I don't think so. I don't see them getting 12 games again. I think they're going to have to win probably 11 games to get back to the playoffs. I don't see them winning 11 games. I could see 10 games. 11? Boy, that defense is going to have to step up. I don't see Jaden Daniels being able to carry this team with a bad defense or with a subpar mediocre defense. I think the defense has to step up.
I think Jaden Daniels can do it simply off the fact that he did it last year. But on the same note, the defense definitely needs to step up, because giving up an average of 137 rushing yards per game is not a recipe for winning football. I would say that much. And they did have a crazy fourth down conversion rate. Like, I think they was like 90% on fourth downs last year, which is a crazy clip. So listen, that offense I think the offense will be fine. The offense will probably be dynamic long as Cliff doesn't revert to his old ways. But that defense is absolutely under the microscope this year. And I'm expecting teams to play keep away with them a lot of ground and pound, going to try to keep the defense on the field at all times, keep Jaden off the field, because we all know what happens when he gets on the field.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's just the defense, man. I'm concerned with the defense. That's really what I'm concerned with at the end of the day. I The Falcons are a bit of a question mark because of the defense. Although they did draft 2 edge rushers in the first round, they're still going to be a question mark with that secondary. And is Michael Penix, is he going to be good? Is he a good quarterback? Because we didn't really see a whole much of Michael Penix until later down the road in the season. And I was looking some of the advanced analytics in regards to Michael Penix. It didn't look all that well. So I really don't know much about the Falcons and if they can improve from what they did. They were in the hunt for the playoffs last year. They nearly made it to the playoffs, even with bad QB play, mediocre QB play, bad QB play with Kirk Cousins, and mediocre QB play with Michael Penix Jr. If there's a team that's on the bubble, it's probably the Falcons. And you mentioned the Dallas Cowboys. I would say the Dallas Cowboys are probably on the bubble as well, and probably the 49ers as well. But I do think that the NFC East, only one team is going to it's tough.
You sure just one? I don't know, man.
This is tough. It's tough. I don't see the Cowboys making the playoffs. I don't see the Giants making the playoffs.
I'm telling you, the Cowboys. You know, it's always when you expect the Cowboys to do good, they falter. But when you don't expect them to do good, that's when they just all of a sudden pop up and win 11 games or something crazy.
Okay. Oh man, this is tough. I don't want to spend too much time on this, so I'll just say this: Packers making the playoffs, Vikings are making the playoffs, Lions are making the playoffs, Rams are making the playoffs. That's 4. Buccaneers are making the playoffs. That's 5, 6. Got 2 wild card. I need 2 wild card teams, so that would be 6. This is tough, man. This is tough. I don't want to
just put the Commanders in there. Just throw them in there.
Fine. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna put the Commanders in there. I can't think of another team. I'm not gonna put Seattle in there because I don't trust Sam Darnold. I don't trust some of the pieces. I don't trust the offensive line. And the 7th team.
Maybe the Niners. I don't know.
Yeah, but the Niners don't have a whole lot of their talent has been depleted ever since they won the Super Bowl. So do I really trust the 49ers?
But they definitely probably going to be a team that treads water the first half of the season and then pick it up the second.
And the Arizona Cardinals as well. Like I don't know about the Arizona Cardinals. They have gotten a lot better. They improved that offensive line. The defense has gotten better. Even without Walter Nolan, I think they're still going to be improved defensively, even though their defense wasn't all that great last year. But I don't trust Kyler Murray. That's another thing. Kyler Murray is a question mark, and the offensive scheme could be a question mark as well. Damn. You know what?
I'm gonna just seem to have bad luck. I
don't know, man. You know what? Before I make my final decision, I have to look at what was the playoff teams from 2023.
It was Cowboys, Packers, Rams, 49ers.
Let me see.
Was it Vikings that year? 23? Yeah. No? I don't remember.
Let me see. All right. Where is it?
I want to say the Eagles made it but got bounced early. But don't quote me on that.
Let me share this. Okay, I think here we go. Let me share it real quick. So this is from 2023. So the Packers made it, 49ers made it, the Cowboys made it, the Lions, the Rams, the Buccaneers, the Eagles, So the teams that didn't make it in 2024 was the Cowboys, the Niners. So it was two teams,
Yeah.
only two teams. And then if we look at the AFC side, the Browns didn't make it. The the Miami Dolphins didn't make it. Did
And
the
that's it.
Steelers? Yeah, the
The
Steelers
Steelers
made it
made it. They
last year.
lost. I think they lost to the Ravens, I believe.
Yeah, they were pretty bad last year. I mean, they still made the playoffs for whatever reason. So it was only two teams. So
On
two
both
teams
conferences.
in both conferences. So who would be and the Niners didn't make it because of injuries, and the Cowboys didn't make it because of injuries. So who would be the two teams in the NFC that don't make the playoffs because of injuries? I can't. I don't know. I can't really
Low
project.
key, maybe the Rams. If Stafford ain't healthy,
That is a good point, man. You know what? I'm gonna just play it safe. I'm gonna just say there's not gonna be any change in the NFC this year because I can't really think. I can't really predict what injuries are gonna occur with what teams, unless there's been reporting involved regarding a team and a lot of players being hurt. So I'll just go with the safe pick. I'll just go with I don't think any team will miss the playoffs from the 2024 NFL playoff. So that's me. What about you?
I'm gonna still hold firm on my Vikings miss the playoff take,
Okay.
and the team that replaces them will probably be
So the Cowboys.
uh I low key want to put them there, but I can't
What
put
about
my
the
faith in these
Bears?
fools.
What about the Bears?
No, just
No.
no. I'm
Okay.
gonna say 49ers. I'm gonna say
49ers.
49ers.
Okay. No, that's fair. That's fair. All right. What about the AFC? AFC last year.
AFC.
Let me
One team I'm dropping out of the playoffs for the AFC is the Steelers. I know that
okay.
defense is probably going to be insane this year, but Aaron Rodgers, he put on some bad tape last year. If you just look at the stats, you'll be like, oh, he wasn't that bad. But like, I literally
Mhm.
just saw a clip an hour ago of Garrett Wilson smoking Jalen Ramsey on a out and go or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce this, but it was some route though. And he went vertical. Aaron Rodgers threw the ball. It should have been an easy touchdown. He ended up out of bounds.
Mhm.
So I'm like, listen, I like the Steelers defense, but their offense is low key kind of smelly. Like outside of DK Metcalf, it's looking pretty regular, middle of the pack, maybe even below average. Because Calvin Austin, he's like a gadget, not a gadget. He's like a wide receiver 3, but he's your wide receiver 2. And then your running backs being Jalen Warren and
Caleb Johnson.
Caleb Johnson. Caleb Johnson seems promising, but Jalen Warren as your lead back, I'm just not really feeling it. The offensive line is still suspect. They need to get some development from Broderick Jones and some other guys on that line, and you still have Arthur Smith calling plays. So I just can't put my faith into the offensive unit. I think the defense will be good, but they're still going to be subpar in putting points on the board because at least with last year you had Justin Fields and Russ to bail you out with their rushing ability. Aaron Rodgers ain't doing that at 40 something years old.
Okay. So who do you have replacing the Steelers? If that's the case.
All right, who do I have replacing the Steelers? I'm going to go with. Oh, that is a good question. Oh, Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, I got the
Wow.
Bengals getting in.
So you trust that the offense will be good enough to carry that team and carry the defense?
I trust the fact that since they signed in Trey Hendrickson again, and they paired him up with Shamar Stewart, and hopefully they get some development on Miles Murphy. They should be just enough to get pressure on the QB to make the secondary just look a little less pathetic, I would say.
See, I
And trust
don't
me, it's gonna be
know.
you gonna have to win the band for band off against Joe Burrow in them every week. And they were
Well,
close to getting in. If they won, they won most of their games closing out the season. They was only, I think, what game screwed them over that they couldn't get in. I think Miami screwed them over or something like that. That's why they couldn't get in.
I'll say this about the Bengals: they're going to have to win some division games. I know that
True.
they were
This,
really bad
I
last
don't think
year,
they were able to beat the Steelers last year,
or the Ravens.
but I think they can get at least one on the Steelers this year. And I know the Browns usually play them super tough for whatever reason. So hopefully they can possibly sweep them due to their QB situation.
They have a tough time against the Steelers. They have a tough time against the Ravens, and even to a certain extent to the Browns, like you mentioned. I think they can beat the Browns. I don't know about sweeping them, but they'll definitely get a game off at least at minimum against the Browns. But the Steelers, on the other hand, I don't know because given the history and given how Mike Tomlin coaches against the Bengals, and then they just got rid of their defensive coordinator in Lou Anarumo. They replaced him, and I don't know, man. They haven't really gotten a whole lot better on that defensive side of the ball outside of one or two. I don't know if they're still there yet defensively to be even a respectful defense. I don't see it.
Hey, but hey, they probably defense probably not gonna be that good, but actually based on what we saw in the preseason, they're probably gonna be terrible. But because they did have the starters out there and it was still getting torched. We saw what Jaden Daniels did in one drive, made them boys look
Yeah.
crazy out there. He ain't even throw a pass. So that defense definitely gonna get shredded, but that offense seems to be working like a well-oiled machine. Joe Burrow just hope he doesn't try to avoid 18 sacks and just throws the ball away come regular season. If not the Bengals, the only team I could really see stepping up and taking that spot is New England, and that's due to coaching pedigree and the fact of their
Hmm.
roster quite a bit.
I don't know. I don't think New England's going to make the playoffs. I think that offensive line is still a work in progress. I think they're still a few pieces away before they can really compete for a playoff spot. I'll say this though: the team that, if they can get any sort of semblance of decent QB play, I believe they'll take the Steelers spot, and that's the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah,
I think the Colts have everything you need to compete right away. The only problem is the quarterback position, which is the most
except the
important
most
position
important position.
in football. They have everything you need except the most important position in football. They have a good play caller. They in
Shane Steichen.
Shane Steichen. They have a good defense. They have the talent. They have the wide receivers. They have the tight end. They have everything you need. It's just, can Daniel Jones, can Anthony Richardson put this team in a position to compete and win enough games? I think they won 8 games last year. They were 8-9. Given how bad the quarterback position was, they still won 8 games. And I believe if we can get more consistent quarterback play, that eight wins can turn into 10 or 11. I believe here's my bold prediction. I believe the Colts make the playoffs over the Steelers this year. The division that they play in, and I do think that if they can get a little bit better QB play from a Daniel Jones who took a team to the playoffs,
That is
or an
true.
Anthony Richardson, I believe the Colts can be that team to get to the postseason, especially when you play in the worst division in football. So I'm gonna go with the Colts. I think the Colts take the Steelers spot, even though the Steelers have a really good defense and they have DK Metcalf and they have Aaron Rodgers. I just think the Colts and the overall talent itself is just too much. So that's my
You know
bold
what? That's
prediction.
fair. That's actually fair because on roster on paper, outside the QB position, they pretty much have what they need,
Yep.
and they have good coaching. So long if Daniel Jones can at least play like he did on the Giants back in 2022, I want to say that was.
20, yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
2022.
I
Yeah.
mean, if he could replicate that kind of performance, they could very well be in the playoffs.
Yeah. But for the most part, I think every other team is going to make the postseason again. I think the Chargers, Texans, Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Broncos. I think all those teams are so good. I don't see any other team usurping them that wasn't in the playoffs last year. The only team that I could think of being in the outside in is the Steelers. I think the Steelers are the team that you look to and you say, okay, they're on the bubble. I could see them not making it because of maybe it's like an injury or two. Aaron Rodgers, he's up there in age. The offense isn't all that good. So I can see the Steelers being the team that you X'd out and then you put in the Indianapolis Colts because they're just so talented. They can win probably 10, maybe even 11 games. Who knows? Because they're just that good as a roster. So
Exactly.
those of our predictions, or did you gave your prediction for the AFC or you
Uh yeah, I said Steelers out, Bengals in.
okay, all right. So Brian believes the Bengals will be the team to make the playoffs instead of the Steelers. I believe it's going to be the Colts. So let's decide who's going to make the Super Bowl. All right.
Oh boy.
This right here. So I mentioned this a little bit when we were doing our predictions for each division a while ago. I said this team has arguably the best roster in football, but they just, for whatever reason, when the bright lights are upon them, they seem to not meet expectations. But I believe this year is different. I know, call me a fool all you want, call me delusional all you want. But looking at the talent, looking at the roster, looking at the QB that's under the helm, I got to go with the Ravens. I know it. Every year we think this is going to be the Ravens' year. Call me a fool. Call me dumb. Call me delusional all you want to. But looking at that roster, looking at everything they've done in the offseason to the NFL draft, to free agency, they got Mike Green, they got Malachi Starks, they got all these dudes that fit right into that scheme, right into the Ravens
Yep.
culture. I gotta
Well,
go.
Mike Green.
Well, considering they did have Ray Lewis for all them years, but regardless of what he did, he is talented, and they did get a Georgia boy. They did get Malachi Starks, who was the best safety coming out of that draft, and he's going to work well with being paired with Kyle Hamilton. I gotta go with the Ravens this year. Derrick Henry. They brought in DeAndre Hopkins. They just got a lot, man. I will be shocked if they don't make the Super Bowl again. I know it's the Chiefs, but the Chiefs, they've lost some pieces over the years. Patrick Mahomes hasn't looked the same, and now Rashid Rice is going to be suspended for 6 games. Give me the Ravens in the AFC. Now, for my NFC pick.
Okay.
It's very rare that a team goes back to the Super Bowl again, unless you just have a special quarterback, you have a special team with a special roster, and they remain healthy for the entirety of the season. I'm not going to be that dude that picks the Eagles to repeat and go back to the Super Bowl. I'm going to go with the team that we initially thought was going to go to the Super Bowl, and that is the Detroit Lions. Now, I understand it. They lost both coordinators. They lost Ben Johnson. They lost Aaron Glenn. These are 2 guys that really have done a lot for that organization. They brought a lot to the table. They improved both sides of the ball. Ben Johnson, the offense, Aaron Glenn, the defense. But I do think that with what I'm hearing, specifically the offensive side, because the guy that they have as the offensive coordinator was in the system already. He was in house. He helped Ben Johnson design that offense, the scheme, everything like that. I think he may have been the passing game coordinator for the offense for the Detroit Lions, and now he's the OC. I just think that they'll be fine enough with the talent that they already have that it will be a smooth adjustment period for them. I don't think they're going to struggle much. I still think the Detroit Lions have enough pieces. They still have Dan Campbell as the head coach. I believe that Jared Goff is actually a really good QB. I don't think he's just a scheme merchant. Oh, Sean McVay was helping him out here. Ben Johnson was helping him out there. I just really think Jared Goff is a damn good quarterback, and he's improved significantly since he left the Rams. And they still have Jameson Williams, who has improved a lot, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, and I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be even better than what we saw from him a year ago. The offensive line, yeah, I believe it's the center and the right guard, maybe a little questionable. But you could say the same thing with the Eagles. Lane Dickerson got hurt not too long ago. Now he will start. I believe he's projected that he's going to start week 1, but he had to get a procedure done on his knee. So is he going to be 100% throughout the season? I don't think so. So he's going to be limited. And then you have 2 other offensive linemen, the center and I believe the right guard, that aren't all that great for the Eagles. So you have to look at that. I just think the Detroit Lions, when they're healthy offensively and defensively, since they're getting all their guys back, I believe they're a team to beat. And I believe we're going to have a Ravens and we're going to have a Detroit Lions Super Bowl. What about you? What is your prediction?
Oh man, I think you might have stole my picks. Out of the AFC, I got to go with the Ravens, man. Just from the roster standpoint, top to bottom, they are probably them and the Eagles are like neck and neck for best roster in the league. They got similar talent at running back with Derrick Henry and Saquon. You could put whoever you want to above it. It really doesn't matter. They had somewhat similar production. Wide receiver core obviously going in favor of the Eagles, but everywhere else you can argue on either side, no matter. So I'm gonna go. I think the Ravens just have the best roster. In my opinion, they have the second best QB in the entire NFL. Should have won the MVP last year, but hey, I'm not a voter. But yeah, I'm going Ravens, man. I think this is finally. We said this like the past 2 years in a row. It's finally seems like it's in play for them to make a deeper run and actually finally break through and get to the Super Bowl. And we'll get to see the Ravens back at the Super Bowl. On the NFC side, it's a little bit trickier because, yeah, it's easy to say the Lions because, well, they had the 1 seed last year. Injuries decimated the roster, and then coaches were on the verge of leaving. So you know how that could have came into play, yada, yada, yada. So I'm still going to go with Detroit. I'm going to go with Detroit because I like their roster. Guys are coming back. They're going to get healthy. Their roster is still really good. They still got the same. The system should be relatively similar, although Ben Johnson, their former play caller, did leave. But like you said, those coaches were in house, so they were learning from under. They were like understudies in a sense. Now they're ready to implement what their twist on the offense that they was coach and scheme and learned under. So yeah, I don't think it should. I don't really see any regression coming for Detroit, honestly, unless Jared Goff just stinks all of a sudden. But Dan Campbell still established that winning culture, that toughness culture with them guys. So yeah, I think Lions come out the NFC as well, and I do think at least the Ravens will probably end up the 1 seed in the AFC, and Detroit will probably be no worse than the 2 seed or 3 seed maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah. That's,
And if
that's
you
we on the same page with that one.
and anybody that says, "Oh, you're wrong. It's Buffalo. It's the Bills. Josh Allen has Lamar Jackson's number." I
The
don't
Bills
give a
had their
damn.
chance last year.
I don't give a damn. This is my
Jo-
pick. This is
Josh
my
Allen had a
prediction.
chance to beat the Chiefs last year, and he didn't do it.
Whatever. But this is my predictions. I'm gonna go with the Lions, Ravens. End of story. And y'all can
Yeah.
debate it in the comment section. I don't give a damn. All right, let's move on to real quick. You know what? Let's get this out the way. Let's get this out the way. Micah Parsons. So the past few days, Micah Parsons has been in the news. Well, he's been in the news for almost a month now. Actually, probably for an entire month. Michael Parsons has been in the news. Him and Jerry Jones has been going back and forth about contract negotiations. They're far apart on what they want. And now Michael Parsons, we don't know if he's going to remain the Cowboys. There's rumors that a deal is in place. He might go to the Packers. I don't believe it's true. But who knows? You never know when it comes to the NFL. You never know. I don't see Jerry Jones sending him to the Packers, considering what the Packers have done to the Cowboys in the past 15 years. And Jerry Jones is an egomaniac. I just don't see that happening. But hey, who knows? What is your thoughts on the rumors of Micah Parsons possibly getting traded to the Packers?
I think it is a leverage play by the agent David Mulugeta because, ironically, one of his clients does play for the Packers. I believe Jordan Love is his client, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And we all know him and Micah have like a sort of friendship off the field and all of that stuff. So I'm not. I think this is just a leverage play to like kind of hurry, push, move Jerry Jones' hand or whatever. I wouldn't put too much stock in it. I think it's a very low percentage chance that a trade like that even happens because if I want to know one thing about Jerry Jones, he is a petty guy. It would have to take an incredible haul in order for this deal to go through and not what was reported as, I think they said like 2 first and a third or something. That's not going to be enough. I know you're going to have to pay him, but Jerry was like, you guys just gave us the worst playoff loss in franchise history 2 years ago, and you want me to trade our best player for? Are you crazy? So I don't think this is going to happen. It's ridiculous that this is even getting this much attention. Just feeding Jerry Jones free headlines, and it's absolutely insane that people are still falling for it. No reputable sources, reputable, have said anything about a deal being on the table. Nothing. Even though Ricky has been cooking, the dog has been cooking this off season, but this one, like he didn't even say, like, usually if he would have said like, oh, it's going to happen, I'd be like, okay, well, I'd be a little concerned. But he said there's just a deal on the table. I have a deal about the Dallas Cowboys right now. Is it going to happen? No.
Oh,
So
man.
yeah, like this is nothing. Like seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, I
45
think
million per year. Like I do think the Green Bay Packers probably do have interest in trading for Michael Parsons. The problem is, does the team that controls his rights for like the next 3 years even want to consider trading him right now? And I think they don't.
and I do think that Brian Gutekunst, like this is out of character for him. I don't see him giving up the farm, giving up the world for Michael Parsons, and then have to pay him 40 plus $1 million. I don't see that happening. Just given the Packers MO, just given that the Packers, they value draft picks a whole lot. They're not going to give up a whole bunch of draft picks. They want to keep a lot of draft picks so that they can utilize it in the draft, especially late round picks. Now they may give up a 7th round pick. They may give up a 6th round pick then and there because you could always get those back for compensatory picks or something
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
But do I think he'll be aggressive enough to say, you know what? Let's go after Michael Parsons. We'll give you the entire farm. We'll give you everything to get Michael Parsons. I just don't see that because Brian Gutekunst, he's not that aggressive, and that will be out of character for him. If he does trade for Michael Parsons, would that will tell me is that Brian Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur believe that the Packers can win a Super Bowl this season. You don't make a move like that if you don't believe that this team is ready to win the Super Bowl. So I got to see it to believe it. I'm on the side of I don't believe it. Maybe there is a deal on the table. They probably called. I wouldn't be shocked.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Let's not forget this. And another reason why I very much doubt this being a real thing is because, according to league rules, you cannot offer a player any contract or discuss any numbers via about a contract with with the player that's already under contract. That's tampering. You will get picks taken away for doing stuff like that. So I don't know where they got that 45. Say they got a contract on the table. I don't know where they got that from. Because if it came out of Green Bay and it's being bought to as taken as credible news, the Packers would be in big trouble.
Yeah, I don't see us doing that. I don't see us
Yeah,
risking.
I don't see like y'all. That's a very reckless thing to do. If that's the case,
We're too much of a smart franchise to do anything like that. You know what I mean? That would
yeah.
be out of character for the Packers to do something like that. So I just don't see this happening. If it does happen, then oh my gosh. But I I don't see this happening, man. I think Micah remains a Cowboy and it's business as usual. We'll see if he gets a contract, but I think it's business as usual. So, anywho, let's move on. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Shador Sanders. Let's talk about it. Shador
Made the
Sanders,
roster,
our
which
favorite
pretty much
quarterback.
everyone expected.
Yeah. Obviously, yeah. You know, they traded Kenny Pickett. We knew that probably Kenny Pickett was the odd man out. They got a draft pick back for him, which is good for the Browns because you know you pick him up for free. You signed him pretty much, and then anybody could have signed Kenny Pickett, but you decided to sign him, and then you eventually was able to get a pick from him. So that was pretty smart by them. Smart Browns for once. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Shador Sanders and his week 3 preseason performance. Because social media went crazy because of his bad performance. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I haven't seen all the snaps from Shador Sanders' performance. I just stopped. I remember I just watched QB School do a breakdown of it. I only watched maybe 26 minutes of it. It's like 35, 36-minute video. So I got a good sense of what was going on because a lot of people on the internet, on social media, they just be hating, bro. They be saying all types of crazy stuff. I'm like, all right, bro. Like, y'all, I can't take your word seriously. It feels like you're trying to push an agenda, push a narrative. What exactly happened? So I went to QB School because I feel like QB School will give me an objective analysis on what exactly happened to Shador Sanders. And here's a couple of things. Number one, the play calling did not help Shador Sanders at all. Some of the plays were just awfully designed, just not good at all, horrible spacing. And number two, I think Shador at times, he just did not trust his offensive line. There was times where he would get outside of the pocket too soon when he still had a little bit more time to deliver the football in pocket. He would drift now so often, and that was problematic. Number three, like I mentioned before, bad play calling. What do you do when it's bad play calling? When there's nothing there, throw the ball away. He didn't throw the ball away. He just decided, you know what? I'm going to try to scramble, try to get some yards to protect my completion percentage. That's a problem because even when you scramble, it can still be a negative play. Just because you don't have an incomplete pass, just because you don't turn the football over, just because you didn't get sacked, doesn't mean that it doesn't result in a negative play. Like it still is a negative play because you didn't gain any yards. So either you throw the ball away or you gain some yards. And he didn't do that. He just tried to protect his completion percentage by scrambling out of bounds and not gaining any yards. So that was just a few things that I noticed from QB School's analysis. What about you? I don't know if you had the opportunity to see any plays from his preseason game or not.
Yes, I did see. I seen some plays like on some people did some like posted some film or stuff like that. And the main thing I see with Shador that I think is a major problem with him is that one, I think he looks for the big play a little too much. I've seen some comparative film to Dylan Gabriel in the same game, and Dylan Gabriel was much better at taking the easy stuff, the short routes, the check downs, the little easy stuff that coaches would like you to see a young QB hit. While Shador is looking for a bigger, a more try to take chunks out of the defense and gain those yards back. But the problem is I don't know if it's because Colorado traumatized them or what, but that man has a very bad problem drifting in the pocket, drifting backwards in the pocket, and putting his tackles in a position to where no matter how good your tackle's blocking, if you back up far enough, the edge rushers can just go around them. And then they could be holding up rather well, but if you back up to the point where they can literally just touch you like that. You cook food. And then, so yeah, he needs to very much work on it. He needs to do that Jameis Winston drill where they were smacking him in the back with the pads every time he was backing up because Dylan Gabriel, he was stepping up in the pocket, even though he's a much shorter QB. And, Shador needs to, I don't think I've seen Shador step up really much at all during that film. So I think that was his main problem. It's just that kind of stuff. You could be like, okay, now I understand why. But also, they did cut like 4 of the linemen that was blocking for him. But you running with the 4s, that's what's gonna happen. So yeah, that's pretty much what I saw. I'm not gonna make any bold declarations or anything like that off the performance, but he definitely has some things to work on moving forward.
And we said this last week. While we praised him, we didn't say, "Oh, he needs to start." We just said, "Hey, can he move up in the depth chart?" I thought, "Hey, maybe he should move up ahead of Dylan Gabriel."
He addition by subtraction. He moved up by them getting rid of other QBs. So
yeah, moved up Tyler Huntley and Kenny Pickett as well. But yeah, man, like I remember I saw people on social media talking about the plays weren't all that good. And for QB School to acknowledge that, I was a bit surprised. I was like, okay, yeah, like I'm looking at the routes that are being ran by these players. I'm looking at the play design, and it just doesn't make sense. Like a lot of it is very vanilla, it's very basic. We get it, it's preseason, but it just didn't help Shador at all. I'm not saying that Shador is completely absolved for what happened, but man, like they did not help him at all. Like a lot of these play designs were just not there. And I also heard that Dylan Gabriel just got better plays called as well. Like, yeah, he played better, but he just got better plays called for him. They allowed him to warm up. It just felt like Shador. It was a lot harder. It was a lot harder.
And also, we also don't know if those ribs were still affecting him during the game either, because he did miss the last preseason game because of it.
That's true. That is true. But he does need to work on his footwork. I will say that because there was times where his footwork was a bit sloppy. I ain't gonna lie, it was a bit sloppy. Like you mentioned, he drifts a little bit too much. Instead of just 1, 2, 3 and drop, boom, he would do 1, 2, 3, and then he would drift off a little bit. Like you gotta 1, 2, 3, drop, throw. You know what I mean? So,
or at least be ready to step up in the pocket,
or step up, He did one time. There was one play where he did step up, but it was like the pass rush was just coming right at him. Like he didn't have much time to throw the football. He stepped up, but like he had to be perfect. Like he had to be picture perfect if he was going to be able to accurately throw the football. But another thing QB school said was that when he stepped up in the pocket, although yes, the pass rush was cooking the offensive line, if he would have remained in a passing stance instead of looking like he was about to run, he would have been able to connect with his receiver a lot sooner and more accurate. So that's just some things that I saw from Shador and that the QB school guy was talking about. So that's just my thoughts on it. He didn't play well at all, but I do believe that Shador, I'm glad that he was able to make the roster. I'm glad that he's on a team. I do believe one of these days he will start for the Browns. I don't think that Shador is going to remain on the sideline for the entirety of the season. I do think they're going to eventually start him because a lot of the things that happened, a lot of the negatives that he did in that final preseason games, I believe he can correct them. I believe he can ultimately get better from that. He just has to work on his footwork and he has to make sure that he doesn't drift all the time and trust your offensive line. If he trusts his offensive line and he works on his footwork, I believe a lot of the negative plays will be erased. And he also has to throw the football away. You're
Yes.
not fast. You're not fast. You're not Lamar. You're not Jaden Daniels. You're not going to outrun these dudes. So if the play is dead, if nobody is open, just throw the football away. Live for another day. If you're not going to be able to gain any yardage, I'd rather just start from where we were before instead of having to back up 4 yards and start even farther than where we were originally. So
Exactly.
that's really some of the things that I saw from Shador and what he needs to work on and what I've heard from other NFL experts say about his performance. I'm not going to be these people on social media overreacting. See, he's trash. Y'all not keeping the same energy. Y'all was talking all that mess when he was playing all well in week one, but now y'all quiet. No, we're here. We're here. We're still talking about Shador and we're acknowledging that he didn't play well. We even said it in the last podcast when we talked about Shador and how he played and how we're going to be honest about his performance. And here we are. He didn't play well, and we're honest about his performance. All right.
Yep. Man,
Thank you.
we ain't ducking no smoke over here.
No, we're not. So I think that'll do it for the Shador segment of the week. Let's move on to other news came out about the Colts QB situation. Daniel Jones is going to be starting for the Colts this year. He's going to be the starter for week one, at least. You know, it's Daniel Jones. Anthony Richardson, I believe he's
He
going
was
to eventually start in the NFL this year. It's just Daniel Jones is currently the starter right now. So, what is your thoughts on Daniel Jones being the starter week one for the Colts?
in my opinion, this is mismanagement. Not because I believe that Anthony Richardson is better than Daniel Jones and should be started. It's the fact that the coach shouldn't have drafted Anthony Richardson in the first place because it was nothing on that tape, football QB related, that said this dude is a top 4 pick in the draft. I mean, seriously, there's no way these teams are this bad at evaluating QBs. When regular Joe Schmoes like me and you and people that just got cameras and microphones like us can tell you, like, yeah, this guy's not that good. Everybody wants to be the master developer and wants to make the next Josh Allen. Well, the thing with Josh Allen is, one, he had Brian Dable as well as he had Brian Dable to help him out. I know Shane Steichen's supposed to be like the QB guru as well, but Josh Allen had way more reps at QB than Anthony Richardson did in college. So
Yeah.
it's just baffling to me. I don't know why they thought this was a good pick to make, and then and it probably doesn't help his case that Anthony Richardson also is dealing with injury. So I just think it was just that was just a silly pick in general. They shouldn't even be in this position if they just would have properly evaluated QBs and not try to reach and try to gets a crazy hit percentage on Anthony Richardson type prospect. That's not something you just do and be like, oh yeah, it's going to work out. Like you didn't even have a veteran in the. Well, you had Joe Flacco, but then he got up out of there after 1 year. So like how is Anthony Richardson supposed to really learn and develop? His veteran is Daniel Jones, who lost his starting job in New York to Russell Wilson. Well, not Russell Wilson, to Tommy DeVito and them. Like, come on, man. What are we talking about? This is ridiculous. This is just a mismanagement from the Colts on all ends. Anthony Richardson, in my opinion, he hasn't done anything to convince me he'll be a starting caliber QB in the league. And, it's already bad enough that talent-wise he was stinking up the joint. It's the fact that he quit on a play last season down the wire.
Yeah.
So it's just a bad look all around for the Colts. This Colts should really be a top contender in the AFC, but they just don't have the QB to do it.
And the thing, let's go back to that draft because they had the 4th pick and they selected Anthony Richardson. I just feel like the Colts, they were just so unlucky that year because when you look at it, after Anthony Richardson, the next quarterback that was drafted was Will Levis. So they were pretty much screwed after Bryce Young and even Bryce Young to a certain extent. Good Lord. But the only QB that really panned out was it CJ Stroud? Everybody else? So they should have just went to free agency, try to get a quarterback, try to get a veteran savvy quarterback. And then I think it was 2024. Maybe you can trade up and potentially, matter of fact, 2024. That should have been the draft where they got a QB, a Bo Nix, a Michael Penix Jr., a JJ McCarthy. But no, they were like, we're going to draft a QB in 2023 when you knew, well, I don't know if anybody really knew it was going to be that many good QBs coming in the 2024 draft. But you just never know. Like, you just decided Anthony Richardson, who was a project coming out of college, who only played in maybe he played 1 year of college. He only played 1 year of college, and he just wasn't as fundamentally sound, wasn't as skilled as the other QBs coming out. And you decided, you know what? That's our QB for the future. And you just threw him to the fire when he wasn't ready. And then he gets hurt. He has a shoulder problem. He continues to have a shoulder problem. And he just doesn't get better. He just doesn't develop. And now you're back in square one where you need a QB. Luckily, hopefully, this coming draft, there's going to be a bunch of really good QBs. It's projected to be that way, but you never know. A lot of the QBs that are coming out, Garrett Nussmeier, Kay Klubnik, Lenore Sellers, Arch Manning, all these dudes, you don't really know what to really expect. Drew Aller, DJ Lagway. You don't really know what to expect per se because, they're projected to be really good, but they could always not be good because I saw a bunch of those QBs last year and they were up and down. So, anywho, the Colts, they screwed up. My
bad. DJ Lagway's a sophomore. He ain't coming out.
Okay, yeah. So they screwed up. They screwed up in that draft. And they're now in a situation where the QB that they thought was going to be the QB for the next 10 plus years got benched for Daniel Jones. Yeah. Let's go to the final topic. This is the most controversial topic. Our QB rankings list for the 2025 season.
Amazing, brother.
So let me just tell you guys real quick, there's a difference between the QB tier list and the QB ranking list. The QB tier list is throughout the season. The QB ranking list is before the season, and I could also say it's after the season. So hopefully you guys understand that. It's way different. This is who we truly think are the best quarterbacks ranked from 1 to 32. QB tier list is best quarterbacks throughout the season. Doesn't necessarily mean that we think this QB is better than this QB overall. We just think that this QB is better than this QB throughout the season. All right, let's get it started. I have my list right here. Let me start it off real quick, and then I'll let you share as well, Brian. So this is my list right here. Number one on my list, it's going to be controversial. I don't care. Lamar Jackson is the number one QB in my eyes, just given what he's done in the past 2 years, being the MVP in 2023 and getting robbed out of MVP in 2024. I thought he played the best football as a quarterback last year. And shoot, he was first team All-Pro, even though he didn't win an MVP as a quarterback. Number two, I have Josh Allen. I thought Josh Allen was sensational last year in the postseason. In the regular season, Josh Allen has been one of the 3 best quarterbacks for the past 3 seasons, really. Matter of fact, you can even go back to probably the past 5 seasons. He's been amazing. Number 3, this is going to be controversial. I got Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow was an MVP candidate last year as well. Joe Burrow put up amazing numbers. Now, the thing with Joe Burrow and why I can't put him above Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson is that Joe Burrow, in some games, he could have won them some games. Matter of fact, there was games on the table that he lost. Turnover here, fumble here, a screw up here. If he would have made the right play, the Bengals could have probably made the playoffs. But he just couldn't do it. But his overall play in the regular season was just so damn good that I have to put Joe Burrow at 3. Number 4, I'm going to go Patrick Mahomes. I still got to give Patrick Mahomes the respect that he's due. He took his team to the Super Bowl yet again. He was able to make the right plays when he needed to down the stretch to get his team to the Super Bowl. He just knows how to win games in the biggest of moments. My thing with Patrick Mahomes, the reason why I can't put Patrick Mahomes in my top 3 is because of the production. You got to show me, you got to give me the production as well in the regular season. And Patrick Mahomes last year, albeit I know he didn't have the greatest of talent, there was times throughout that season where we were scratching our heads and saying, what is wrong with Patrick Mahomes? Why is Patrick Mahomes not playing well? Like, he's okay, but he's not that same Patrick Mahomes that we witnessed back in 2020, 2021, and in 2022 and 2023. So I got Patrick Mahomes at 4. 5, I have Jared Goff. That's another one people are going to disagree with, but I just think Jared Goff is a really good quarterback. He was very efficient last year. I looked at the numbers. I looked at the advanced analytics. Jared Goff is one of the more accurate QBs in the NFL, and his stats back it up. I just think Jared Goff is just a really good QB. I don't think he's a scheme merchant at all. Number 6, I'm going Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels was absolutely sensational last year as a rookie quarterback. He had arguably the best. He had arguably the best rookie year as a QB ever that we've ever seen. I just got to put Jaden Daniels up there. His completion percentage, his accuracy from the pocket, his ability to be a dual threat QB. He had nearly 900 yards rushing, and he had nearly I think maybe 4,000 yards pat. Like, dude is up there, man. He is a fantastic dual threat quarterback, the likes that we haven't seen since Lamar Jackson, obviously. But man, this dude was fantastic, bro. And he took his team to the championship game as a rookie. That's unheard of.
Yeah, he was nuts. I ain't never seen nothing like that before.
Here, okay. I'm going to get pushed back. I already know. But damn it, this guy right here is one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL as well. I know his postseason success hasn't been good, but when I watch the film
Is that Jared Goff at 5?
Yes, I just said Jared Goff at 5. Yes.
I wasn't paying enough attention.
I'm going Justin Herbert at 7. Justin
That's not.
Herbert.
If anything, him being that low is kind of a hot take compared to where people usually rank him.
So Justin Herbert is 7. Part of the reason why, because I think last year I had him maybe 5. Justin Herbert, the reason why he went down 2 spots is because his production in the postseason. That's just really what it is. I just think that I can't put a top 5. I can't put a QB in my top 5 if you're going to stink up the joint in the postseason that much every single season. But man, in the regular season, he throws some of the most accurate footballs by any QB. He's deadly accurate. He doesn't have the enormous godly numbers like Lamar, like a Josh Allen, like a Joe Burrow. But when you really dissect the advanced analytics, when you really watch the film, you look at this dude, you're like, man, he is such a perfect, clean cut. Fundamentals is always clean. Can he be more aggressive? Can he push the ball down the field a lot more? Absolutely. But he does a lot of the things correct as a quarterback. He doesn't make a lot of bad decisions other than when he's in the playoffs, and that's the problem. So I got Justin Herbert at 7. Number 8, I'm going Baker Mayfield. Now, I get it. He can be turnover prone sometimes. He had, I think he may have been 12 or 15 interceptions, but he had 41 touchdowns, 41 passing touchdowns. And I think he had nearly 5,000 yards passing. Baker Mayfield was sensational last year. You got to remember, he went from Dave Canales, and then he had a new offensive coordinator in Liam Cohen. And Liam Cohen took what Dave Canales did, and he just put it times 2. We thought Baker Mayfield was good with Dave Canales. Now he has Liam Cohen, and Liam Cohen was like, all right, I'm gonna do even better than that. And Baker Mayfield was sensational last year. He was one of the best fantasy quarterbacks, and in reality, he was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I love just how better Baker Mayfield has become ever since he left the Browns, and then he had to be a backup for the Rams. He had to be a backup for the Panthers. He has really come to his own. One of those redemption stories that we should appreciate in the NFL. So I got Baker Mayfield at 8. Number 9, I'm going to go Matthew Stafford. I think people tend to forget that Matthew Stafford, I would say halfway through the regular season, he wasn't that great. He was a little mediocre. But towards the end of the season, he started to get going. The Rams started to get hot, and we started to see Matthew Stafford be that elite level quarterback that we know him as. And I still respect Matthew Stafford. I'm going to still give him the respect where it's due. That's why I still have him in my top 10. I just think he's number 9. But he could always improve from number 9. So that's just me, Matthew Stafford at 9. And number 10, Jalen Hurts. I feel like that's respectful. I feel like that's a respectful spot for Jalen Hurts, being the 10th best QB. He took his team to the Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl. He was a good game manager. He didn't turn the ball over a whole lot. He did what the coaching staff told him to do, and he did it pretty well. I just think Jalen Hurts, from a talent perspective and a production perspective, I just don't think he's on the level of the other guys that I just mentioned. He's a good game manager. He is clutch. He is a Super Bowl champion. He's a Super Bowl MVP. But I need that production as well. And right now, Jalen Hurts as a passer, I just don't think he's to the level of the other quarterbacks that I've mentioned. That's why I think he's number 10 in my opinion. I don't think that's disrespectful to have Jalen Hurts number 10. If you have him top 5, what is wrong with you? What are you watching? All right, so just to speed everything up, I have Jordan Love at 11. I have Brock Purdy at 12. I have C.J. Stroud at 13. I have Dak at 14. I have Bo Nix 15. Sam Darnold 16. Tua 17. Geno 18. Trevor Lawrence 19. Aaron Rodgers 20. Kyler Murray 21. Russell Wilson 22. Kyler Murray 21. You think that's too low? Really?
I
Really?
got him
Oh,
at least above Rodgers
wow. Okay. All right.
and Tua.
Well, he wasn't. Well, Kyler Murray wasn't very good last year. I know Rodgers wasn't good either, but like, given, I mean, it's one spot. I mean, you can.
Yeah.
It's one spot anyway. It's interchangeable. 22 Russell Wilson, 23 Caleb Williams, 24 Drake May, 25 Joe Flacco, 26 Bryce Young, 27 Justin Fields, 28 Michael Penix Jr., 29 JJ McCarthy, 30 Cam Ward, 31 Anthony Richardson, 32 Tyler Shuck. So that is my QB rankings. 11 through 15, I will say Jordan Love. See, the thing with Jordan Love is when I was comparing him to a CJ Stroud, Jordan Love still had better numbers. Although he was struggling throughout the year, CJ Stroud was worse than Jordan Love. I think it was quarterback rating, passer rating. Even though Jordan Love missed some parts of the season, Jordan Love was still the better QB. And Dak Prescott is an interesting one. I was conflicted on this one because he only played 10 games last year.
Wasn't
But
that great in those 10 games,
he
to be
wasn't.
fair.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I see Dak at 14. I don't know if I would have him 14 if I redid the list. I don't know if I would have him 14. I might have to move him down a little bit.
Yeah, you're smoking dope.
Maybe 15. Maybe I might flip Bo Nix and Dak.
One spot. Oh,
maybe I might flip Dak and Bo Nix, but for the most part, I like my list. What do you think, real quick?
There's some stuff on the list I wouldn't necessarily super agree with, but a lot of this stuff is just splitting hairs once you get past a certain point. Like once you get to Justin Herbert, you're kind of just splitting hairs, especially when you get to the 10 to 15 region. Like those are pretty much the same tier of QBs. It's just however which way it's ordered due to the selection process. So I ain't really gonna complain too much about it. And anything after that is just kind of like, who cares about the Tuas and the other guys? But yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. Top 10, my top 10 looks a little different, I believe.
Okay.
Jared Goff at 5. I just can't get down with that. I'm sorry.
But show me your top. Show me your list if you have it.
I gotta share my screen. Share screen. There we go. All right, boom. All right, here's my top 10 list. I gotta make sure it looks
Patrick
good.
Mahomes, right, number 1.
Yes, Patrick Mahomes, number 1. Listen, this dude, even in his down years, he still finds ways to win. Until one of these dudes gotta beat him in order for them to claim this number 1 spot.
Jalen Hurts is number 1.
No, that don't count. We know the circumstances ain't the same. Just Pat Mahomes is still my number 1 QB because he is the boogeyman. To this day, he's the boogeyman. And I got Lamar Jackson at 2 because, in my opinion, he should have won that MVP. And I know what I see, man. He had 40 touchdowns, like 4 interceptions, bro. Come on now. That's like some Aaron Rodgers stuff right there. Prime Aaron Rodgers stuff when he was winning MVPs. And how you win first team all pro, but don't win MVP as the QB. Anywho, I digress. Josh Allen at 3, MVP run, of course. He's going to be top 3 regardless. Joe Burrow at 4 because Joe Burrow honestly had a solid case for MVP if his team would have won more games. It actually made the playoffs. Jaden Daniels at 5. The rookie coming at the number 5 spot, who's a second-year player now, but coming at the 5 spot, Jaden Daniels was phenomenal. Not many QBs in this league I would take over Jaden Daniels at this point, even though this is only his second year in the league, but he showed very promising attributes throughout last season. This dude was phenomenal. Big game after big game, clutch performance after clutch moment. No moment was too big for him. He just showed up when it matters the most, and he knocked off the Detroit Lions on the road. So he got that respect. I got Matthew Stafford at 6. I know he's dealing with the back injury and all that stuff now, but this is based off of last season. So Matt Stafford, he's just. We all know what Matt Stafford is capable of. Hopefully, he stays healthy this year because we want to see a good Rams team fully locked and loaded. Somebody got to beat the Eagles. Daggone it. Justin Herbert at 7. I be getting on Justin Herbert's case a lot because the man just can't win a playoff game, but the talent is undeniable. The man can sling the football and he slings it well. Unfortunately, he threw like the same amount of interceptions in one playoff game that he did like the entire season. But hey, that's neither here nor there. He's still a phenomenal talent QB, great arm, very accurate QB, and he's more mobile. He's pretty mobile as well. And he honestly didn't have the greatest weapons last year, and he still was able to make it work. So, I'll give him some extra points for that. Jared Goff at the 8 spot. Jared Goff was, at times he looked shaky, but for the most part, he was accurate, surgical, did not put the ball in harm's way a lot. And he just did what the offense needed to do and led the number one offense in the NFL, I believe they were. So, got to give him respect on that. Ran that Ben Johnson scheme to a T, and we always see how Caleb Williams is adjusting to it. It's not an easy scheme to run. You got to be a smart QB to play in that Ben Johnson offense. So this just shows how the prowess of Jared Goff living up to that number 1 overall draft pick back in 2016. Number 9, we got Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, man, he won the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl MVP. People get on him. He ain't stuff up the stat sheets in the offseason outside of them tush push TDs. But hey, when January hit, the man, he was on one. He was on. Granted, he did win the playoff game, only throwing 100-something yards. But in the Super Bowl, what he did to that Chiefs defense, you was like, oh my goodness, he started picking up where he left off in 2022. He came back for revenge. So people say, oh, he has the best team. Let me tell you something. That may be true, but at the end of the day, you got to make plays as the QB. It's just that simple. So I'm putting Jalen Hurts in 9 because of that. 10, I got Baker Mayfield there. Baker Mayfield, I'm glad to see Baker Mayfield is actually flourishing in this Buccaneers team after the league tried to count him out and the Browns tried to discard him like trash. And I'm glad he's back. Number 1 QB on the Buccaneers, coming back from being a backup to starting. So this is a great story. I love Baker Mayfield's game. Great arm, mobile too. He's a tough dude too as well. And he runs that Buccaneers offense the way it needs to be ran. 11, CJ Stroud. Some of y'all may think it may be a little high after the season he had, but we got to add context to that. He had probably a bottom 3 offensive line in the entire league, and he was still able to put up solid numbers, and he won a playoff game when people was counting him out. They were like, oh, man, the Chargers got this. Including me, I counted them out. I was like, the Chargers, they good, man. It's Jim Harbaugh, Justin, man, they got defense. No, he diced them boys up. So I'm putting CJ Stroud 11, man. If that offensive line can even get a little bit better, you'll see a much better season from him. I got Dak at 12. This is kind of a biased placement, I will admit, but I know what Dak is when the offense is healthy, he's healthy, and when he has more than one weapon to throw the football to. Watch what Dak Prescott do with George Pickens as the number 2 receiver this year. That's all I'm gonna say on that department. Jordan Love at 12. Jordan Love is a very good QB. Unfortunately, his weapons are less than subpar, honestly, because boy, oh boy, his weapons stink. And they drop the ball a lot, and they don't get any separation. He honestly would be a top 10, but man, I hope Matthew Golden can really elevate some of those stats and stuff like that. And Matt LaFleur can cook up a scheme where he isn't trying to do everything or do too much with lackluster weapons. Kyler Murray at 14, maybe a little high for Kyler Murray. He didn't have a very good year last year. How much of that was Drew Petzing? How much of that was Kyler Murray? Do we really know? Trevor Lawrence, I don't know how he ended up at 15. I'm not a huge Trevor Lawrence fan at all. I think he's overrated. His he's not living up to his draft position and the generational tag they try to put on him coming out of Clemson. I honestly would have Bo Nix over him because at least Bo Nix, he played good football.
He did.
Yeah, but I think once we get to this range, we're really just splitting hairs. Like Brock Purdy, Geno Smith, Sam Darnold. Those like the two, or those are the same tier of dudes in my opinion. Like, it's really not much separating them besides personal preference or whatever. You just going off of aesthetic at that point when you get to those guys. Then once you get to the 20s, rapid fire Tua, Aaron Rodgers, Caleb Williams, Drake May, Justin Fields, Cam Ward, Russell Wilson. Cam Ward's a little high, but honestly would take him over all of these QBs that's under him. And respectfully, Russ Wilson, Bryce Young, Joe Flacco, Penny, no one really cares about them dudes. So yeah, that's my list. Thoughts and opinions.
Well, number one, I think I'm not mad at the CJ Stroud point because there's a reason behind that. Scheme was god awful and he had no protection. But I would say around 14 is when matter of fact, the Dak Prescott one. I'm like, all right, bro, like Dak Prescott over Jordan Love. All right, bro, like you're a Cowboy fan. Anywho, but when we get to 14, I'm scratching my head because I'm looking at Kyler Murray at 14. I don't think Kyler Murray is a top 15 QB in the NFL. And I don't think Trevor Lawrence is a top 15 QB in the NFL. I think Brock Purdy is better than Kyler Murray and Trevor Lawrence. Brock Purdy is underrated in my opinion. I think Brock Purdy, he's not great. He's not an elite quarterback, but I think he's a good quarterback. I think Brock Purdy is a top 15 quarterback. He's on that 15 range. I believe Brock Purdy deserves a little bit more respect. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is better than Brock Purdy. Trevor Lawrence has more talent than Brock Purdy. A lot of quarterbacks have more talent than Brock Purdy. But I just think Brock Purdy, his ability to anticipate throws, his ability to read the defense pre-snap, post-snap, I just think he's better than Trevor Lawrence in this stage of their careers. Bo Nix, I'm not mad at Bo Nix at that spot. I have Bo Nix pretty much around that range. Geno Smith to Sam Darnold, I'm not mad at that as well. To all the other guys at the back end, here's my thing. My logic with the later portion of the QBs, I was looking at experience. I was looking at, have you played a snap yet? I was looking at, were you relatively decent last year? I think with Caleb Williams, although his situation wasn't all that great, I do think that he should be lower on the list. I believe it was Russell Wilson over him. I think I may have put I think it was maybe Russell Wilson I put over him, but after that, for the most part, I think Caleb Williams is all right. Drake May, I think I may have lowered him as well. But yeah, I mean, it's whatever. Like after we get to past Aaron Rodgers, it's whatever. It's whatever.
Yeah,
so that's my thoughts, and I think that'll do it for our episode of the Courtside podcast. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, hit the notification bell, and follow the socials. And next time we see you guys, football.
It's going to be football time.
We'll finally be able to pick the games again. So I can't wait for that next week.
And we will be picking spreads this year. Well, at least I will.
Well, we'll get to that down the road. But thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys later. Peace.
Salute.
All right.